Hello dear tea friends from around the world, and welcome to a new tea class with me, Stéphane Erler, from the Tea Masters blog and the tea-masters.com boutique. Thank you very much for helping me choose these two pictures on Facebook at the end of the year. As you can see, I've transformed them into really these beautiful postcards that are now my gifts that I'm sending along to you when you place an order on my online boutique. So thank you very much for your orders, and these are the kind of postcards you will get. Since I have postcards from different years, still I start from the older ones, I think 4 or 5 years ago, and then maybe in 5 orders, these are the postcards that you will receive. Okay, today's subject takes us back in time to the Song dynasty. That's over 1,000 years ago. The Song dynasty started in the year 950 until 1279 approximately. And this class, I've already made one introduction to Song dynasty style tea. You can see I think 1 year ago in my list of videos, but it's not a subject I do so often, so I wanted to revisit it. And today's exact subject is going to be the secrets of this Song dynasty style tea. Because it may look more easy than the Japanese tea ceremony, which is inspired by the Song dynasty tea, but actually there are major differences, and there is also a complexity in this preparation that you might not be aware of when you look at it, because here I have a nice magazine about Japanese tea preparation, and when I look at the tea ceremony for the in the Japanese way, I didn't even check which school it is, but really you have page after page, really very detailed explanation of how to do each step. So here I've counted there are over 12 pages of different steps of what you have to do step by step during the preparation. It goes on and on. Okay, until here. So there were 12 pages, so very detailed, and it looks very complex. But most of the complexity in this tea preparation is more about what happens before and after, rather than about the preparation itself. We will see the big difference with Song dynasty style is we don't make so much of a fuss about the before and after. What is really important in this way of preparation is the preparation itself, and the secrets are in the preparation itself. So again, if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up on YouTube, and if you are live on Facebook, also please say hello or give me your like. And at the end of the video, there will be an exchange, and we can do some questions and answers. What can we? So I don't want to say too much, because about the background, otherwise we don't have so much time to do also the preparation. What is interesting with Song dynasty style tea is that we can really refer it as an imperial tea. Now, tea is really such a part of Chinese culture that all emperors have always made tea. We can see from the Tang dynasty in the Famen temple, which belonged to a prince of the imperial family. There was an excavation in the 80s that found the tea set used by the imperial family. So we know that they were making tea. Qianlong is a famous tea drinker. He loved Longjing above all, and he even wrote poems about his favorite teas, and collected lots of teaware. Of course, all the emperors of the Qing dynasty have collected teaware, but in the Song dynasty we have a book written by Emperor Song Huizong about tea, Guan Cha Lun. Guan is the pen name of Song Huizong, and Cha Lun is a kind of a tea classic or treatise on tea. And it's really this book that is serves us until today to better understand about the preparation of tea in this dynasty. So we really are lucky that our teacher is today a Chinese emperor who wrote this book. And the central piece of the preparation is this bowl. Now, we don't call it. There's a different name for a bowl in Chinese. In Chinese, it's very often it's called Cha Wan, but in the Song dynasty we don't call this bowl Cha Wan. It's called Cha Zan. So the character changes because it's not the same usage. Usually the bowl is where you pour the tea that you want to drink. Here it's a bowl that you use to prepare the tea. And this reminds me that I forgot one thing. We don't need so many utensils, but we need one that I forgot to take. So please, sorry for 1 second. I'll be back. I'm still there. Maybe you can still hear me. Okay. This is really direct live. And what I needed is a tissue for later on, but I want to be prepared not to leave my seat just before, otherwise you get excited. And the important thing is to remain calm for this preparation. Now, Cha Zan, this is really the center piece of the tea preparation. It's not called Pao Cha, brew tea. It's called Dian Cha, which means like point, because really there's only a focal point on it. Well, this is my explanation, but so the important thing, everything happens in this bowl. So this bowl is really the most important thing and where the secrets are. Now, well, it's a bowl. What's the big fuss about it? Well, this bowl from the Song dynasty was so revered, so important that even so we see it that this Song dynasty preparation influenced the Japanese preparation. They were also using such bowls, and these bowls are what has influenced until today the rice bowls in Asia. So if the rice bowls have approximately this they have approximately the same diameter, and it's not by coincidence, but because really this size suited the people so well that until today this size is what we are using for rice bowls. So of course 1 centimeter more or less, but this really set the standard for bowl size until especially the diameter, maybe not the tallness, but the diameter until today. So this is maybe the first interesting fact to know, that this diameter is we are still using when you are using a rice bowl, the grandson of these bowls that were used in the tea preparation in the Song dynasty. But well, this is not the secrets I want to talk about. The first thing, of course, is the clay. Always the most important thing about any pottery is the clay, and the clay of this Jianyang Chazan. So Jianyang is where they come from, in the Fujian. Actually, it's quite close to Hui. So these bowls were made from very dark clay, we can see, with a high content in iron, and this high iron content helps to keep the bowl very hot, and so it keeps the heat very well, which helps to maintain then a high temperature for a longer time in the bowl, and to prepare to mix the tea better. Probably you have noticed that when you want to mix powder in water, the powder mix is easier in hot water than in a very cold water. So for the same reason, it's easier to mix the green tea, the powder green tea that we are using for this Songdan preparation, in water that is very hot than in water that cools down fast. So it's really a first benefit of this clay, that it keeps the heat for a longer time. Then, of course, it is also glazed in a dark glaze, we can see, and this glaze, of course, helps to make it waterproof, and also adds a layer of thickness to the bowl, and thickness also helps to retain more heat. The darkness of the color is going to make a very sharp contrast with the lightness of the tea froth that we are going to obtain at the end, and this is also one of the aesthetic pleasures that that was sought with this kind of bowl. And another secret in this in the beautiful black bowls is that this clay, when you look at it more closely, you will see that there is a kind of it's a little bit uneven. They were made in dragon kilns fired by wood, very long kilns where the fire was not so easy to control, and they were put in cellars to avoid to have ashes that fall on them, but the glaze would kind of melt and leave traces. Now sometimes these traces would form like hair fur, or here it's also a mix between on top is more brown and below is darker, and so you really have to look close by to see these variations of color. You don't notice them when you look at them from afar. But really, when you pay attention very close to it, then you see a lot of variation that bring beauty and interest. It's really fascinating. Sometimes it's like watching the night sky when it's very dark, but there are points of light of these stars, and something similar happens. And maybe the most fascinating bowl is in Japan. It's really considered a national treasure there. It is a Jenyang bowl, and it has blue formations that really look like nebuloses or galaxies in the sky. If you are on Google, after the class, I really recommend that you find this bowl. It's really beautiful to look at, especially very, very close by. So this is another secret that, and even sometimes there would be very fine decorations made with silver. So again, silver on black is not so obvious to the eye. You really have to come close to see it. This is really very opposite to what we call the bling bling culture, to a flashy culture of today's fashion, where you see objects shine from very far. Here it's not shiny at all, and if you want to see the beauty, you really have to pay attention and to come close. But there are also more functional secrets in this bowl. Two of them. First, you will notice that my glaze here does not stop at the foot, but slightly above the foot. So they could have stopped at the foot, but why did they choose to stop maybe half a centimeter above? Well, this is mnemotechnic way to remind us that this place is the place reserved for the tea powder. So it's not a lot of place to put the tea powder, but it's enough because tea powder is very concentrated. So it's a smart way to tell us drinkers, only fill maybe your tea powder that much at the bottom of the bowl. And yet another secret little thing that is not obvious right away is that the bowl here at the rim is not straight. It curves inside and then goes outside again, and this curve is made on purpose for our lip, for our lower lip, so that it is more comfortable to place the lower lip in this curved place. Try to show you. You can see here, and at the same time, this curved place also, when you look at it from inside, tells you, okay, this is where you have to stop your water. Don't fill your water to the top. You have to stop at the place where the curve is starting. Oh, that's a lot of interesting points that have been built into the bowl. And there is one more that is very interesting now, and that is going to be very useful also, because the way to brew, the way to whisk the tea will consist in not touching the bowl. You don't need to touch the bowl when you whisk it. What you want to do is to do like this, because actually you need your other hand to pour the water. So with two hands you don't have a third to hold the bowl, and therefore the bowl is built in a way that is making it very stable. It is very thick at the base, and the sides are get thinner and thinner to the top, and this makes that the center of gravity of the bowl is very low. And this is really even now. This I don't have a Song Dynasty bowl. This is a reproduction, but I've been able. I was able to hold a real Song Dynasty bowl, and in Song Dynasty bowls, this is even more obvious that the base is very heavy and the top is much lighter, so that it's really very, very stable. But already with this one, it is the case, much more the case than a simple wise bowl of today. So this will be very, very stable. Okay, now let's go and make the demonstration. Here I will show you the steps to brew it. So the difference with Japanese tea ceremonies that there is much less ceremony before and after. Still, this is a time where you need to be very focused and prepared. So it does help to have some ceremonial to cool down and focus more on what you are doing. I will first. I'm getting my water to a full brew, full boil again. It really needs to be very hot. You could pour directly from a kettle in the bowl, but since I'm fortunate to have this ewer made of celadon and porcelain by David Louveau, according to a Song Dynasty design, I will prefer to use this ewer, especially since it really has a very nice and thin and long spout that helps to control the thinness of your water. So maybe this spout reminds you of these kettles that are used for coffee with a long spout. So maybe these can be useful for your Song Dynasty preparation. But actually, the best is to use this kind of ewer, and it's very heavy. It's very, very thick. And it has a beautiful color with some variations. It's also a bit uneven. You can really feel it was made by hand, and it will keep the heat very well. But first, you need also to preheat it. So our first part of the preparation is to preheat our ewer and our tea bowl, chadzan. So I'm waiting for the water to be fully boiled. Taking these postcards away. Maybe I just keep this one here. Okay, I'm looking at some comments. Hello, Dino. In the meantime, hello, Erica. And Dino writes, interesting that you bring up the Genzan black porcelain. I've been looking into this type of pottery recently. Actually, it's not porcelain. Porcelain would be white, clay. Here it's pottery, but very fine and with a high iron content. This is really what distinguishes the Shenyang Chadzan from maybe other black bowls in China. This is the place which had the highest iron content, and as I explained, this really had the effect of making the heat retention the best. Okay, my water is almost boiling. It is boiling. So first I'm going to preheat all my vessels. So this continue. And now I'm preheating my bowl. Another thing you want to preheat is your whisk, your bamboo whisk. This will maybe a bit soften the bamboo and make sure that it's less likely to break. Okay. Now I've emptied it quite a lot, so I'm adding some more to it. Okay, I'm emptying it also in a wastewater bowl. Now comes the part where I need my towel. So I'm using a paper towel, actually simple paper towel. The bowl is very, very hot, and I make sure that it's now completely dry. I'm adding my matcha, so powdered green tea from Japan. Remembering to fill approximately the size of what was shown at the base of the bowl. Okay. Now this is the part where you don't see so well, but we first mix the paste quite slowly, so it's not yet a whisk, it's simply making a paste. We're making a paste. Now, okay. Now you see the idea is to continuously pour. Okay, now that I have a bit more water, I can start to whisk firmly. Very difficult. So this is really time to be humble. Whisking hard. And once you get enough foam, that's when you start to be more gentle and whisk a little bit less. But the idea is to really whisk and create a smooth tea. Okay, you see I'm very sweating, and then I can put this on this stand which is made for this. This gives it even a more ceremonial look. And here you go. Okay, so my technique is still a work in progress. This is not a technique I practice so often. I do it much more now in winter when it starts to be cold. So it's still the beginning of the season. I still feel I have a lot of progress to do, a lot of practice to make. So this was not really intended to show you the best way to prepare it, but the basic concepts of it, this is from what I feel the technique that is the most difficult, because you are the most really active in the preparation of the tea. And what is interesting is maybe this tea has been turned into a very meditative type of tea, which it is, because you need to be very focused and calm. And the calmer you are, I feel the better your technique is, and the better the result is. In front of a camera, of course, this is for me maximum stress. So this is probably the bowl I'm the least satisfied in a long time. But I have to accept it, and it's a challenge. And what is interesting is that in the Song dynasty there would be challenges, there would be competitions. It would be called docha, where maybe several tea drinkers would and tea whiskers would come together, each whisk a bowl of tea, and then wait whose bowl will be the first where the tea froth breaks, and where you can see the tea first. This is the guy who loses, because the idea is to make the thickest possible bubbles, so that they stay for the longest time. So yes, it's a very competitive, it can be turned into something very competitive or into something very meditative. So this is also one of the interesting parts about Song dynasty style tea. Thank you very much for watching. If you are interested, maybe I'll talk a little bit more about this in the coming weeks, and therefore I say goodbye and see you next week. Bye bye.